Hey guys, welcome to me again. Is Ariel Caputo. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm excited for tonight's talk show. Welcome, guys. We have Dr. Jonathan and Stacy. Happy to see you guys. Will you both take a brief second to just kind of introduce yourselves? Dr. Jonathan, I'm going to go with you first.
Okay, well, thank you for having me on. It's nice to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm Dr. Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Jonathan or watch my show on YouTube at Dr. Jonathan Live, where I talk about everything. I interview all sorts of people. Usually, I interview people about nothing, but you can check out the show and see for yourself, and you can follow me on Twitter. I do practice family medicine here in Chicago, amongst other things. But you can watch my show and see that I interview everybody from reality TV stars to singer-songwriters. So tune in, Dr. Jonathan Live. Follow me on Twitter, Dr. Jonathan.
I love it. You know, you're the second doctor I've had on this show, and I love it. Thank you for
Well,
being here.
well, we love you
Stacy
too, so
Bryant.
thank you.
Nice. Nice. Every time I see a positive doctor or someone, I'm like, yes, it's perfect in the medical field.
That's right. Well, thank you. I take that as quite a compliment.
Stacy Bryant,
Oh.
right? Go for it. Stacy, will you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Stacy. You folks know me by Coach Stacy if you follow me on Facebook. I currently own and operate a domestic violence nonprofit organization called Hope Foundation, and it's for, as I said, domestic violence. And I also am a coach, a published author, and a motivational speaker. Once again, you can follow me on Facebook. And that's all I have for my introduction.
I love it. Thank you. So, as you guys both have seen, this show is about highlighting those that are doing good in the world around us. And I absolutely love having people come on from all different walks of life in all different fields. And just to prove that it doesn't matter what you're doing or what your passion is, it can still help others. We've had doctors on here. Last week we had a magician on here, a boxer as well, all across the field. And so, if you guys don't know, so my name is Ariel again. I am a suicide intervention coach. I run 2 in-person support groups in an online chat room. And people start reaching out to me asking me for more, which is why we started this talk show. And I always hear this question, I don't know what my passion is, I don't know what my purpose is. And so I always say, okay, go spread love, go help someone else, and the answer will kind of come to you. And I have a very young audience, teenagers all the way up, who are always saying, but I'm sad, or but I'm depressed. And so that's why I love bringing people on who are from all different walks of life to hear your own story. Because it's one thing to talk to us, and we're all smiling, real story, and that it didn't just come like that. And so that's something that I want to focus on today, is kind of hearing both of your journey into what prompted you to get started and why you do what you do today. That being said, Dr. Jonathan, will you kind of rewind and tell us why you do what you do and how you got started?
Sure. You know, it's interesting that you're talking about domestic violence. I used to be a therapist, and that's how I got started in medicine. And I was a relationship therapist, and I dealt a lot with domestic violence. I actually was one of the first volunteers for the National Domestic Abuse Helpline for Men, which served just male victims of domestic violence, and then we later on accepted women as well because we didn't turn any victims away. But that's kind of how I got my start in healthcare. And then from that, I went to medical school, fell in love with family medicine, and along the way I did a lot of musical theater and performing, which is really one of my big passions. And then I got really involved in social media about 5 years ago on my Twitter feed, and also on my YouTube show, which shortly thereafter followed. And really, they've all been a way for me to connect with people, which is really what medicine is all about, and it's really what I think what helping people is all about, connecting with them and making people feel like they are understood and their voice is heard, And there are so many wonderful people on social media, by the way, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, who are out there helping other folks. There's people like you who are who are involved in domestic violence causes, and there are folks involved in everything from the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. So it's a great community to be a part of on social media, and I'm really happy to be there, and it's fun.
That's really cool. That's awesome to see how there's a common thread here in a way to expect. That's very cool.
Yes.
Stacy, will you give us a moment and tell us what got you started in doing what you do today?
Okay, well, for starters, I started the Hope Foundation because I am a domestic violence survivor, and I actually have hopes of placing shelters all over the U.S. one day. Currently, I just run an advocacy center, so I volunteer at other shelters when the time comes and when I'm needed or called upon. And as far as the Hope Foundation goes, when I'm contacted, I extend resources to assist them, whether it be with shelter, transportation, babysitting, childcare, whatever the call is. I do what I can to try to assist that. I've even gone as far as to housing, a family in my home. And, the scenarios vary, but I think in emergency situations, sometimes someone just needs to open their door. And I know because I've been there, a lot of people are frightened by doing that, but I want to make a difference in the world, and if me stepping outside of the box and pulling someone in, I'm willing to do that all of the way. Sometimes when you're in a domestic violence situation, someone just needs you to reach out and help you along the way because you're stuck. You're stuck. You don't know which way to go. You're afraid that if you make one certain move, that could mean the end of your life. So I feel like as a community, if we begin to speak up and speak out and help these people when they get these victims, when they get into these situations, it would be a lot easier to support them instead of just asking the why do you stay or turning the other cheek. If we would begin to help, I think if someone had stepped out and helped myself, I would not have been in the situation as long as I was. So that's how that started, and that actually birthed a book, my first book, called Building Self-Confidence, because one of the other reasons we stay is because we have no esteem left. We have no confidence. So I wrote a short ebook to try to assist those with helping build self-confidence, to give them that extra oomph they need to know that they can love themselves enough to walk away from something that's not good for them.
Absolutely. I think just raising the stigma, actually, a lot of times when we hear about someone who's being abused or in an abusive relationship, we don't always know what to do, and it's like, okay, cool, and then back to my life, And
Right,
so
right.
you're right, what the person needs most at that time to walk along you, to be there and say, like, okay, I understand that you think this is all you can do right now, but I'm going to be here for when you're ready to walk away, and I'm going to kind of help, and I'll keep putting suggestions or helping you to find a way out, but to keep
That's
talking
right.
about it, not let the person be alone. You're absolutely right.
That's right. That's right.
I love it.
That's right.
Your ebook. You said you have an ebook. Is that on Amazon?
Yes, it is. Amazon.com. As I said, it's called Building Self-Confidence.
Nice.
It's
Do we get
not
complimentary copies?
What? Sure,
Right.
Dr. Vitale.
Okay, great. I would love to read it, seriously. No,
Yes.
I'm just teasing. I mean,
It's not very long. It's only about 24 pages long. It's short,
Okay.
straight to the
Nice.
point. I define it, and then I show you why, and I give you steps to start building your confidence back up, maybe a few affirmations, and a couple of exercises that you can go along with throughout your day. And that's about it. It's nothing long, drawn out, and confusing. I know I've been into reading self-help and personal development books for a long time, and I know sometimes when they get so long, I don't even want to read them anymore because I get lost and I lose focus.
Yeah.
And the audience I'm trying to reach is someone who really needs something to hit home just like that, so they can do what they have to do, as I said before, to walk away from something that's not good for them.
So I'm curious, both of you have a lot of experience in domestic violence. What is the one thing that viewers can take home? What's the take-home message for how people can, the one thing they can do when they have a friend or family member who's in an abusive relationship? We can't change those people, but what's the one thing we can do, if anything?
I would like to say the one thing from actually being a survivor myself. I'm sorry, Ariel. I do apologize. The one thing I
no, by all means.
To say from being a survivor myself, I feel like if you could just support, regardless of the decision that they make, you don't force them to leave. You don't force them to stay. In the beginning, you just support them. You support their ideas. You listen. You listen to what they have to say. You allow them to vent it out. Yes, when situations arise where it's really hectic and it's like, oh, you either go now or it's over, yes, you do take further steps at that time. But for, like you said, a family member or someone who's close and they know what's going on, just support them. Don't judge them. Don't, just give them support and let them know that you are there for them when they need you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't agree more. To add on to that, I was in an abusive relationship myself many years ago, and there are two people I remember very clearly during that time. One girlfriend said, "You either leave him or you have to again." And then there was a girlfriend that said, I'm sorry you're hurting. I'm sorry you're going through a hard time, but I'm going to be here to support you. I'm here for you. And though I needed to leave. When you're in that abusive relationship, it's a dark place and it's a tunnel. It's very fine. You don't see the way out. You don't see that you could do anything else. You don't see that you can even function alone or be deserving of somebody else. And so the last thing you do is people giving you, I'm never going to be your friend again. And so in answer to your question, which was a great question, I completely agree. Offer support. Even if that means I know of support groups, I have a hotline for you, I have a shelter, this nonprofit.
That's right.
Just keep kind of feeding that information.
Yeah, which one of your friends, you had those two friends, which piece of advice pushed you further? Well, which one was more meaningful to you? Was it that advice that, that ultimatum of you either get out or I don't talk to you anymore, or the other friend who offered support?
It's very rarely the ultimatum because when you're in an abusive relationship, you're always going to pick the relationship over your friends, and that's why you're still in it.
Right.
So it's very rarely the ultimatum. It's those things you have to end it on your own. I always tell people, I cannot tell you to get out. You will get out when you are ready, but I can continue to be the support rock for you. Right. So you can't really push somebody out. You hear these stories of people who picked up their child and dropped them off at a shelter. In my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to add to that, Stacy.
Yes, I just want to add just a little bit because I totally agree with you, Ariel. I think when I was in that situation, I didn't actually have anyone that gave me I didn't have the two angels, one angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. I didn't have that. I did have a lot of support from people at church, but at the same time, it was very judgmental. It was, that ain't right. You're not supposed to, and so you're already, like you say, in a dark place. You don't want to even hear that. Mm-hmm. So even if it's the right thing, you tune it out anyway. So you telling me what I don't need, I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening at all. I was okay, and I go right home, and it happened again, So that's why I say if you just offer the support, if it's nothing but to listen, because you're letting that person know that you're there for them when the right time for them to get out they know they have that avenue to go to.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Did we answer your question, Dr. Jonathan?
Yes, you did. Absolutely. I have more too, but I'll keep them to myself. I'm sorry to.
No, you're perfectly fine. I actually want to talk about you for a minute. I want to talk about your talk show. Will you give us like a brief synopsis of what it's about?
Sure. My talk show started out as being about nothing. And I learned from some of the great, it kind of like Seinfeld, I know what you're thinking, but I learned from the greatest. I have a lot of idols, and one of my idols is Larry King. And something that he always said made him stand apart from other people was he said, I can interview anybody and make it interesting. So he would when he was early in his career, he would challenge himself. He would literally interview the UPS guy when he came to his office. He'd be like, sit down, I'm going to interview you right now, because the interviews are very difficult to make interesting. It's not really about the person who's being interviewed. And so I thought that was really a lot of fun. So I started challenging myself, and I started just interviewing whoever would come on my show. And I have shows I would do like 5 years ago, which were really, really bad. They're not public. Sorry, everybody, you can't watch them. But then I slowly started building a Twitter following, and I started asking people if I could interview them. And a lot of it came from my experience with dating, which was that I would ask out 100 women, and one would say yes. Same thing went for interviewing. I would ask 100 people to interview, and one of them would say yes, and I would be like, well, hey, that's great. So I'm partially kidding, by the way. Everybody has a very straight face on this show. But so I started interviewing, I would ask like random reality TV show people if I could interview them on Twitter, and some of them would actually reply. So that's what a lot of my interviews are folks on reality TV shows. Like right now I'm in talks with some folks from Vanderpump Rules to be on my show to interview them. And I have no idea why they come on my show. My theme song is about medicine, but I interview them about drama because it's fun. And so that's what it is. It's a show where I'll interview anybody about anything, and everybody thinks it has to do with medicine, but it doesn't. It's kind of a stage name that's real. But anyway, so tune in. Yeah.
I love it. So then my question applies to both you guys. What would be your advice to those who want to start something?
Yeah. You froze a little bit there. Wait. Okay, we're back. Are we back? I'll just jump in here. You know, and I was saying this to you before the show, Ariel. I think that advice to people who want to do anything in their life, no matter how monumentous of a task it seems, the best advice that I could give them is start doing it. So if you want to be a famous author, start writing. If you want to be a famous musician, start performing. It doesn't matter where you perform. It doesn't matter if you're performing in a coffee shop for free. Start doing it. You're going to just start doing whatever it is you want to do. And don't make excuses. Don't say, well, if I had a budget, or if I had the right equipment, or if I had the time. No, those are just excuses. You just start doing it somehow, and that will quickly start bringing more of what you want to do into your life. That's my advice.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Well, you wrote an ebook, and I'm sure that you have always wanted to be an author in some respects.
Yes,
Okay.
I did, and I've said for years, and that's why I totally agree with your statement, because I was one of those. I walked around and I said, yeah, I want to write a book, and I'd start writing, and I never finished. I think I have maybe 40 books that I've started and never finished.
Wow. You should publish all of them. It's like a condensed, unfinished book.
They need lots of work.
The ongoing book.
Yeah. But as far as the shelter, and I've always wanted my own business, but I didn't have the money, so I said, well, I guess I can't start my own business because I don't have the money. And with the foundation came along, I said, you know what, I'm just going to stop with this I don't have the money thing. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to help somebody. And just because I don't have the money to officially start a business does not mean I can't do it. So once I started doing it, I talked to different women, and I found out that they were having the issues, and I just stepped right in and helped where I could. And before I knew it, the dream took over me. And so I had to build a foundation because it just took over me. So I totally agree with what you said. Just like the book. The book was birthed through all of these women that I talked to, and it was all about their self-esteem. And I remember having the same issue. I mean, you can't tell me that now, but no. I had the same issue.
Yeah.
And so I just sat down and I just wrote the book, and I said, well, the same thing I'm telling them, I'm going to put it in this book, and I'm going to see if it works. And so far it's working.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Then one day I'm sure you'll have more published books, probably, even paperback books that we can all purchase or download on our Kindle. So,
and you're right. I'm actually working on a new lesson. It's the I Love Me series, and it's how to love yourself. Single women, single men, married men, it does not matter. I think we're all lacking loving ourselves. So that's my next series.
Sure. That's true. Very true.
I love it. I love it. Guys, once again, you're listening to Hidden Heroes. My name is Ariel, and I have Dr. Jonathan and Stacy Bryant. I love this, you guys. I actually published a book this summer as well.
Oh, I was wondering what that was back there on the whiteboard. Okay.
Yes, that is my book. That is everyone who comes in gets to sign it for me. This is my favorite thing that I own, I think.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. But that's the biggest question I get, though, is, oh my gosh, how did you publish a book and you're a single mom and you work a full-time job and you run these support groups? And I always say, yeah, just do it. You just got to start.
Everybody's got excuses. Everybody does. But I think all three of us had excuses for ourselves at some point, and then we just overcame it. And really, that's what it turns out to be. Yeah. I know you before the show, Ariel, if you don't mind me saying, you were talking about how you always wanted a TV show, and you just decided one day to just start it. And that's what you do. And something I always find interesting, and you'll both probably agree with this, is folks who've already done what we're trying to do, they're always pretty helpful. If you reach out to somebody and you want some support, I get this a lot in business. Absolutely. If you're going to business startups and you're going to people with your idea, they're more than willing to help you, or tell you what they think, talk is cheap, as they say. So they're willing to do it. So there's a great network out there of people on social media or even within your friends and family who will support you. You just have to reach out. And I always say to people, make your goals public. Tell everybody you know what you want to do, and don't be ashamed of it. And then they'll all hold you to it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I actually talked about this today. I post a motivational video every single morning, and today's thought was just ask. A lot of times, because we're tweeting, we're Instagramming, we're Facebooking, sending emails, we just assume that everybody knows what it is that we want and what it is that we're working on, and we fail to do the direct person to person, this is what I am working on. Would you like to help me? Or would you like to be a part of this?
That's right.
I completely agree with you, Doctor.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, I put up an ad on Craigslist a few weeks ago because I wanted to do a live studio audience.
Hop in there?
I'm sorry? Is it still there? No, I don't think it's still there. But I published an ad on Craigslist, and I said, I want to do a live studio show. I have no set. I got no money. I have no equipment, and I have no crew other than me. But I still want to do it. And I got all this interest of all these people like, I'll show up. And I was like, okay. So we're actually planning it to do a Dr. Jonathan live show with a live studio audience. It's going to be like 5 people sitting in folding chairs in my living room. But, it's going to be better than canned laughter. I don't know, things happen. Ideas materialize. I always say our ideas are the most valuable thing we have because that's how everything you have materializes. Once it was just an idea in your mind, everything. And anyways, so use Craigslist. It's free, everybody.
Yes, yes. It is. It is.
Love it. Or Meetup. Meetup.com is another great avenue.
That's right.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about really quick though, you guys, is we're making this sound really easy, and so I want to bring up the no factor. I don't know about you guys, but I've gotten a lot of no's and a lot of closed doors before I was able to start what I do. I run my support groups, and I had been wanting to do that for a while, and I kept saying, I don't have the money, I can't pay for head fees, how am I going to do this? I don't want to charge people, and so I just kept calling. And I found a center that was looking for me that was like, please come in. I rent it for a super low fee. But I wanted to ask you both, have you guys reached no's or reached closed doors, and what did you do to overcome those?
Go ahead. I'll let you go first, Stacy.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Okay. Well, that's all I tell you in the beginning. That's all you get is no.
That's right.
To start off, I modeled for 17 years. And trust me, I got a whole lot of no's trying to model. And I was like, you know what? I could be the next Tyra Banks. And these people keep telling me no.
Isn't that a scam? Yeah. I think you could too.
So I didn't give up, and I still do side modeling now, but you just keep going. You never give up. You just keep going. And you will get the no. I used to feel like I was a failure when I got a no. But now I've learned that when I got a failure, there was something I was missing. So I need to take that as a lesson and add on or take away and go at it again. And eventually, somebody's going to say yes. So
that's right.
Just keep going.
I totally agree. You know what I realized a few weeks ago, or I think I heard it somewhere. I'm not going to take credit for this statement. But every no you receive gets you one step closer to a yes.
That's right.
I think that people need to remember that. You know, I send out interview requests daily to very famous people, and most of the time I don't get any reply. I wish I would get a no, because if I got a no, it would mean somebody actually read my email and and told me like, or who knows, maybe they'd tell me this is why we don't want to go on your show. I would love that.
Right.
And I've been on the other end of it when I've interviewed for jobs. For doctor jobs, and I have declined the job. What I do is I tell them why I'm declining the job, and they can't believe it. They love it so much that I tell them why I'm not going to work for them. So I've kind of been on both ends of it. So I think that try to get rejections, because they have that almost be your goal. You want somebody to give you a rejection, because that's going to help you get to your yes. So everybody out there who has interview requests for me, please at least reply, say something. You know, don't just ignore them. And then sometimes people say yes.
Yes, that's right.
And then it's very, very sweet. It's all the more sweet, the success. Anyways. That's my take.
I think it's just a great rule to live by. I feel like it's good karmic energy, too.
Yeah, it definitely.
The politeness of a response.
Yeah, definitely. To kind of to give back. You know, I mentor a lot of students and people who want to go into medicine, and college students, and I do lectures around the area. And I always am able to teach people better about all my failures I had trying to get where I am. And I talk about the brick wall analogy, which is the reason why brick walls exist, is not to keep you out, not to keep you out at all. It's for you to show how much you want something. It's for you to prove how badly you want something, because 90% of people are going to be defeated by the brick wall, so it's something to keep in mind. This is like my favorite topic to talk about, by the way. I think it's really coincidental that we got on this topic. I love motivation. So do you, Stacy? You mentioned you do motivational speaking.
Well, yes, I wanted to add, I actually just posted it on my Facebook page just yesterday, that obstacles get in your way to see how long you're going to hang in there before you give up.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, a military friend of mine who's in the Navy SEALs told me that what his instructors always told him in Navy SEAL training stuck with him, which was, we're going to tell everything I tell you to do is not impossible. It's very, very, very hard, but it's not impossible. but believe me, if you heard the training they go through, you think it's impossible. But
I know. I'm active duty military as well.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you for your service. But yes, so you know more than what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
And the same thing is true in real life. I think that most of our ideas are very possible.
Yes.
They're hard, but we sometimes think they're impossible. So, anyways.
It's all your mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
This is something. Absolutely. This is something I always bring up in my support group is anytime you're going through a situation that deems bad, usually it's had you further than what you thought he would have been in a truck accident. So now he's on disability and he's at home and he was hating life and being miserable. Like to focus on your dreams, to focus on what you want to do. For myself, that's how I did my book. I suddenly was forced to be home, and so I'm like, what can I do? I'm supposed to be here. This is where the universe has me. What can I do to make use of this time in a positive manner? And that's why I was able to focus on my book. But I love it. Dr. Jonathan, you are a musician, pianist, singer, songwriter as well?
That's right. That's actually most of what I do. I'm
really?
kind of a dabbler. My patients think I'm a little crazy. But yeah, so I am a big pianist and vocalist. I love to sing, and I don't really write too many songs. What I do is I accompany some vocalists, and that all came from my performing background. I used to do a lot of musical theater. It's a lot of fun. My neighbors don't like me because I have an odd schedule, so I sing at very odd hours and play my piano very loudly. And I live in very close quarters here in Chicago, so it's kind of difficult. But I did write the Dr. Jonathan Live theme song, which you can listen to if you watch my show.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have, there's a very, very special musician who I'm hoping to have on the show sometime before the year is over, and he's actually very famous, but this is a funny story. I went to his concert last month, and I waited for like 12 hours to meet him after the show, and I basically cornered him and told him, will you come on my show, like face to face? And he said yes, even though he just wanted me to get out of the way. And I gave him my card. So when I wrote the email to his agent, I'm like, he already said he'd come on my show. So I'm not going to tell you who it is because it's a big surprise when he comes on the show. But hopefully he will, because he's one of my idols. He's a great singer-songwriter. But how about you? Do any of you sing, or are you musically inclined?
I can lip sync.
Well, that's important. That's very important. And you obviously can look good too, as you talked about modeling.
Yeah.
And Ariel, how about you? I can see that you're a vocalist, right?
Yes.
I can always tell. I know.
Yeah. I sang choir back in school, but my fame is I sung the national anthem for the Seahawks, the Seattle Mariners. I sang a few big arena national anthem events.
Nice.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Is it on YouTube for viewers to watch?
No, it is not.
Oh, well, that's too bad. I will admit, though, that I do enjoy on YouTube watching people sing the national anthem and mess it up. It's
and mess it up. I'm always like, how do you do that? With how many times you rehearse and practice? How?
Yeah, I think they just kind of second and triple guess themselves while they're singing, which is a big no-no in music. But I find it entertaining. But that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. More singing. Stacy, will you tell us again where you are based out of? Where is your Hope Foundation?
Charlottesville, Virginia.
Gotcha. And you...
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that, Ariel.
You said you wanted to open up more locations. Is that already in the works?
Yes,
I do. Country or more in Virginia?
Yes, across the country. Across the country. I actually had a lady call me from Ohio needing help, and I've actually never been to Ohio, but she got my number from a friend, so I did everything I could, and we got her some help from right here in Virginia. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
yes, I am looking forward to branching out across the United States.
Wow. Yeah.
Perfect. So where can people find out about the Hope Organization or the Hope Foundation?
They can go to my website, dvhopefoundation.jimdo.com, or you can go to my other website, which is coachstacybryant.com. And when you go there, it's click on the domestic violence tab, and it'll take you right to me.
Awesome. Guys, our show is coming to an end already. Can you believe it or not? This is my favorite question to ask everybody, and that is, do you have a personal quote or affirmation that you live by?
I guess it depends on what day it is.
To share with us.
And I'm also a little bit sad because I gave one of them away a few minutes ago when I said
that was a good one.
Every no gets you one step closer to a yes. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I have two. I have two that I live by every day. And the first one is, do the best you can, then when you know better, you do better, by Maya Angelou. And that's one of my favorites because I think a lot of people don't do better because they don't know any better. I was in that same spot. I didn't know any better.
Sure.
I only did what I knew to do. And now that I know, I do everything I can to do better. The second one is, a single sunbeam is enough to drive away many shadows. And I love that quote because so much people just turn their back when they see something wrong. And I myself, I just have a desire to make a difference in somebody's life, whether it be from domestic violence, giving you $5, picking you up, taking you for lunch. I don't care what it is. Or just listening to you babble on and cry. I'll just cry with you. So that quote means a lot to me. And I wake up with the intent to be there for someone that day.
I think that's really, really valuable because you have to wake up every day intending the day to go well.
That's right.
Intending for it to go the way you planned.
Yes.
So I think that's really nice. Another one, another mantra I like to live by is do what you love and the money will come.
Yes, sir.
Which I try to always teach people that they need to focus on doing what they enjoy and not so much on what's going to make the money because money will come eventually. But yes, and I love reading inspirational websites like Humans of New York, which is really popular. And you can see motivational quotes like this every day from people from New York City. It's on Facebook, if anybody wants to look at it.
Okay. Great.
That's really cool. Writing this down. You know, two that I want to share. One is, we touched on it for a second, and that is we choose happiness. Every day, we don't just get up and it's just there. I choose happiness just like I'm choosing to put on my T-shirt or choosing to put on my shoes.
Yeah, it's a decision.
Another quote that you guys, absolutely. Another quote you guys inspired me with was, you can hike to the top of Mount Everest with just baby steps. Or another way that people say that is, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yes.
You just start. You just got to do it.
That's right. Now I feel very motivated and pumped up.
Well, guys.
I'm going to write some more emails.
I know, right?
Some interviews from people. Get some more rejections.
Do it. Don't wait.
Right?
Yeah.
Get those no's. Get those no's.
That's right. That's right. Gets you one step closer to a yes. Yes.
Yes.
Well, guys,
thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You're welcome. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's been an honor being on your show. It's been an honor being on your show, and I'm glad. Thank you for having me. It's been great. It's been fun. Dr. Jonathan, it was nice meeting you. You're awesome.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much.
Ariel, I can't tell you enough how awesome you are. Once again, thanks. And I hope to come back soon one day.
Absolutely.
All right, team. It's been a pleasure.
You.
Thanks for having me. And it's so nice to talk to both of you.
Thank you, guys. To everyone listening in, thank you. This was Hidden Arrows with Ariel, and tonight's guest speakers were Dr. Jonathan and Stacy Bryant. Thank you all, and have a fabulous evening. Good night.
Take care.
Good night.